Hello and welcome to my channel. I always find introductions really weird, but I don't think I've said this on my channel yet, but my name is Kayla. So that's me. So I decided I wanted to take my channel in kind of a different direction. So if you are a returner, then you've seen that pretty much every single one of my past videos have been about bullet journaling or bullet journaling in my reading journal. I mean, like, it's the same thing, it's just a reading journal, so it's kind of like more specific than a regular bullet journal. And I decided I wanted to kind of take a step into booktube, like into that kind of side of YouTube. I mean, I read a lot of books, like a lot of books. And so it kind of like makes sense that I would kind of take this step into booktube because I want to share the books that I read with you guys. And I have a lot to share. This video is going to be a wrap up of the books I read in March, and I'm not going to talk about every single one of them I read because if you do not know this, I am an audiobook proofreader for my 9-to-5. So I don't get to pick all of the books that I read, and I feel like it's kind of a waste of time to talk about some like the business books I read, or like I don't know, the history books that I'm not really interested in, to just try to be like, yeah, I read this book and I hated it. And like, what fun is that? Like, there's no point, you know? So for March, I read 10 books. The only physical book I read was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I did do a video about this book specifically, and I will link it in one of the cards. I don't know. I never done this before. If it's not on one of these corners, it's going to be in the description box. This was my favorite book, 5 stars of the month. Before I get into it though, I want to talk a little bit more about stats. So, one book I read for fun, and I read 9 books for work, and in total I read 2,955 pages, which is a lot. I don't know, I feel like that's a lot. That's actually the most pages I've read so far in a month so far this year. Since I haven't mentioned it, I'll just quickly look. So last month was 2,500 and January was 2,000 rounded pages. So for 2,900 pages this month, I feel like that is pretty good. Okay, so getting into my favorite book. This one was my favorite book of the month. I'm not gonna do too much of a description, as I've already said. So essentially this book is about this girl, Katie, who is born into a rich family, and every summer her family goes to this island that her grandfather owns, and something happens on the island. It's pretty tragic, and Katie gets hurt, ends up in the hospital, and the book is Katie coming to terms with what happened, because she doesn't remember, and so she has to kind of go through everything to remember exactly what it is that happened. Yeah, it's shocking and it's heartbreaking and it's amazing and it's really good. It's written very well. Like, this is probably one of the best written books I've read in a while. I mean, everybody has their own opinions on it. Some people don't like the way it's written, and that's why they won't give it 5 stars, but I think that is pretty good. I think I have really good metaphors. So moving on to my second 5-star book of the month. If I could figure out how to do it, I'm using iMovie, but if I could figure out how to do it, I'll put a, I'll put like a, like the picture, the book cover on the screen, but if not, it'll be linked in the description below of like the Goodreads or Amazon or whatever. Like, I'll find some kind of link that I'll reference. Anyways, so this book was called Just Friends by Saxon James, and this is the first book in a series. I'm not exactly sure. So this is an LGBTQ romance, and it's a male-male romance, and honestly, male-male LGBTQ romances are my favorite genre. I don't know if that's a little weird to say. I think that these romances are so sweet and they're so genuine and they're so just, they go outside of that stereotypical romance where the female is like whiny and she's like unrealistically attractive and amazingly smart and funny and understanding, but also at the same time not understanding because she always jumps to conclusions. And while the male is like overly masculine and like just I don't know, where the male is just like the absolute most and he's also like an absolute jerk at the same time, but they love each other and it's amazing and they change for each other. And that's not how these romances are. These romances are loving people for who they are and supporting that person and trying to make that person better in a way of supporting and not in a way of like, I'm gonna make you better. Like, so I do stuff like this all the time, but now that I see it on camera, I'm like, that's weird, stop being weird. Anyways, so this book, Just Friends, follows two boys. I can't remember their names anymore. It's bad if this is a 5-star book and I can't remember their names, but I read this like over a month ago. And I've read like 12 books since then. Okay, so there's these two boys and they're best friends. And they go to school together and one of the boys has epilepsy and he has seizures really bad and they all the time like he has them and he can't control them and he has them in school and he gets embarrassed. And the other friend, whenever he has a seizure, whenever it gets really bad, the other friend, I can't remember their names. It's like weird telling the story without knowing their names. Okay, so whatever. The other friend who doesn't have seizures, he protects him and he scares the like bullies away so that it's just he protects him, you know? Anyway, so that's the beginning of the story. The boy who has epilepsy really bad, Rue. He called him Rue. Okay, Rue, and the other one, I can't remember his name. I'm gonna call him Brad. The one who has epilepsy, his nickname is Rue. I can't remember his real name. And I'm gonna call the other one Brad. I can't remember his name. That's probably not it, but we're just gonna go with it. Rue has epilepsy really bad. And he was born in Australia. And that's important because his parents don't really know what to do. He's not getting better and he's been to multiple hospitals and seen a lot of doctors, tried medication, like nothing works. And so they bring him back to Australia to have brain surgery essentially. And so he has to say goodbye to Brad, and Brad kind of just says like, yeah, you have to go. Like he doesn't try to stop him or anything because he knows he has to go. He has to get the surgery to get better. Rue goes, he gets a surgery, and he ends up staying in Australia for like 4 or 5 years. I can't remember exactly how long. Maybe it could even be longer, like 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. So he's finished high school, he's finished college, and he decides to come back to America to visit Brad. And meanwhile, Brad is trying to be a firefighter, but right now he's only a volunteer firefighter and he keeps trying to take the test to be a firefighter. How many times can I say firefighter in one sentence? So anyways, so he tries to take the test, but he keeps failing it because he's dyslexic and he refuses to ask for help and he just keeps failing. The captain, I don't know, the firefighter boss dude said, like, keeps asking like, dude, you know the stuff, why do you keep failing the test? And he's just like, I don't know, whatever. So anyways, Rue comes back and they meet each other and they're like, oh my god, I missed you so much. And Rue doesn't really have a place. He was gonna like stay at a hotel or something, but Brad was like, don't be ridiculous, you could stay with me. And now they were like super close friends to the point where like when they'd have sleepovers, they would like sleep in the same bed, and it wasn't weird because they were just like BFFs. And like I would do that with my BFFs, so I don't think it's weird. But other people thought that they were kind of dating secretly because they were so close, and Brad had absolutely no idea. But Rue Rue was aware of it because Rue was out. Not to everybody, but he knew that he was gay, and he knew he had a large crush on Brad, like more than a crush. He was in love with him, but he didn't say anything, he didn't do anything because he didn't want to ruin their friendship. So Brad doesn't know, and he's straight this whole time. He doesn't know. So Brad and Rue are kind of living together, and like time goes by, and then Rue comes out to him and he goes, I just want to let you know, like, so things don't get awkward, but I don't want to keep any secrets from you. And he tells him, and Brad is like, okay, like, cool. And so the rest of the story is them trying to find ways to like be friends again, because so much time has gone by that it's a little like awkward for them. Not specifically because Rue came out and told him he was gay, but just because they haven't seen each other in so long. And Rue does tell him, I'm pretty sure he tells him that he was in love with him, and then like the rest of the story follows Brad kind of discovering his sexuality and discovering that he has been in love with Rue this whole time, but he didn't know because he didn't really know what it meant to be gay, I guess. It's like, I don't want to come off as offensive at all. I'm just trying to explain the story, how I read it and how I interpreted it. And that's how it seems like to me how Brad was feeling. Like he didn't know how to be gay, and he only saw it in like a negative light, but he knew he loved Rue. And so it was a story about love, a story about self-discovery and coming back together and reuniting. And it was so, so sweet. And sorry this explanation was already so long-winded, but 5 stars that one. I really, really enjoyed it. So since I've been talking for so long, I'm only going to talk about 2 more books. Okay, I lied. I'm only going to talk about 1 more book. My 1-star book, absolutely hated this book. I hated it so much. Okay, so actually I gave it 0 stars in my book, but on Goodreads you have to give it at least 1 star. But I know in my head it's 0 stars. This book was called The Plan by Whitney Deneen, I think is how you say her last name. So this was a rom-com about a girl with anxiety. This book was offensive. I don't know why they thought that it would be a good idea to make a comedy about a struggle. Anxiety is a real like mental illness. It's serious. Like, it's not one of those haha, we're having fun, we're having anxiety kind of thing. And that's the way the book kind of did this, and I didn't enjoy that at all. It very much othered anxiety, and it very much spread wrong information about it. Like, so if you haven't already figured out, I do have anxiety. That's why I struggle with these videos so much and other things. Also, I have a BA in psychology, so I know a little bit about this stuff, and sometimes I do diagnose characters just because I think that's fun. Not that I would say it out loud, because I don't want anyone to get offended, and I don't want anyone to like, I don't do it in a way that's judging. I do it in a way of, that's what the DSM-5 says. So that being said, the main character does have symptoms of anxiety, but she also has symptoms of OCD. And I understand that OCD is a form of anxiety, but like, they didn't mention that at all. They strictly said it was only anxiety, and they made it so ridiculous. Yeah, on top of that, like, just total incorrect information about anxiety. It was written pretty horribly. Like, characters do not act this way. Like, real people don't act this way. I feel like all I'm talking about is like negative things about this book, but I really, really, truly hated this book. I really did. I don't know if I wrote a review on I think I did write a review on Goodreads where it kind of breaks it down a little bit more and goes more in depth. But I mean, read it if you want. It's a rom-com, so like take everything with a grain of salt. But it's just one of those books that really annoyed me, really got under my skin, and I did not like that at all. I think I'm gonna wrap up this video here. Those are 3 of the 10 books that I read this month, even though I only talked about 2 of them. I'll get better for next month. I'm gonna try this again in April. I don't know, if you have any suggestions on how I can kind of like structure this a little bit better, like do you want me to talk about like my top book, my 3 stars book, and my 1-star book of the month, I could do that, or I could just do the ones that stood out to me. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I think that's it for me today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. I'm up to 13 subscribers and I'm actually really happy about that. Like, there's 13 people that want to watch my videos. Thank you guys. But anyways, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye.